Okay guys, here we are in Friday Night 9 Ball and we're in tonight's final. Larry, as you can see in the lobby, has just won a final rack decider against Chad Mercer. And tonight we've got a final in a race to 7. It's handicapped and we have ReelPolandPower, or for the rest of the video as usual we'll call him Stub. And we'll just double check. He's gone into the room, Larry's gone into the room. They should be lagging right now and we'll join the match. And it looks like Larry's won the lag, and Larry, being player 2, is being spotted to 7 ball. Stubbs' rating is away up there at 2399. Larry scratched off the break, which could be a big mistake. So just remember, the handicapping is different now. It's not a rack handicap, it's money ball handicapping now. And while Stubbs planning his route out, we'll have a quick look at the bracket. There wasn't many players in it tonight, but you can see their path to the final. And Stubb has won all his matches to get there. Not that he played that many. I think he only played the... Did he get a bye in the first round? I think he got a bye. No, he won 7-4. And Larry had to come through from the one loss side, and that was the match that we saw the result of in the lobby. So let's rejoin this final. And already Stubb out of position, having to cut the 3 onto the 4, and again out of position in the 3, so no doubt he's going to be going for a bank shot here. And he's way off there, and the only thing that's going to hamper Larry's that 5 ball, and that's difficult because he's aiming down on this 3, and the cue ball's going to be running pretty close to the 7. It probably will miss it, but he's got to read this potting angle, and that's amplified the difficulty of the shot. And now, is he going to get a wee bit of luck here? Well, I think he has. That looks pretty safe. So it looks as if it's going to be the next mistake on this 3 ball. Stubbs looking to kick at the 3, maybe catch the edge of it and knock it in if he gets his angles right, but maybe the angle isn't there. Let's have a look. Well, I think he can get behind that 6, but obviously didn't think he could. And now we're just going to get a bit of tippy tapping, and Larry's made his mind up. He's going for the kick, and the cue ball should finish nice for the 5, but he's made a right mess of it. And I think we get a wee bit of lag there again. Now, the only problem here is this 7 ball, which is quite close to that middle pocket, so Stubbs got to think about his angle here and whether he wants to come up and take this 7 down into the same pocket as the 6, which is going to be very tough. Now, he might try and just roll right to the rail. I think that's what he's tried. And I think he can also just come off that point of the pocket there. Well, he didn't even need to use the point. So now he's got a cut in the 9, and that should be first rack to Stubb. Well, I think he chickened out there. Tried to be too delicate, and you know, you're playing into a blind pocket. Doesn't matter how good you are. You hit them to the jaw first. So Larry manages to steal that one from the jaws of defeat, and Larry leads by 1 rack to 0. How's his luck in the break? Well, he's got no luck, but he's got cover, so Stubbs either going to kick out, which he did, and again he didn't get a kick safe though, and Larry's got an angle here, but he's got a lot of traffic to avoid. If he tries to come across to the side here to get to this 2, by putting bottom and a wee bit of right English on it, he's more than likely going to collide with something, maybe the 8 and the 3. Well, that was always going to be the problem. In fact, he didn't actually get into the cue ball enough there. He needed a lot more dig in it to try and fire that cue ball off the side rail and kick it up, but it was a tough shot. So now we've got Stubb with ball in hand, and the 3 is sitting there just to go into the top left hand corner. And this is actually a bit awkward as well, because the 8 ball's a bit of a hamper if he's going to try and... Is he going to try and draw back? Difficult to say what he's trying to do here. Now he's got top in the cue ball, so he's going to try and run through, and things can go wrong doing this. Well, there you go. He had to hit it quite firm to try and kick that 8 out the way, and that's why he's missed a 3. Sent the 3 offline, and Larry now has a chance to steal the second rack from Stubbs' mistake. Now I think he can just thin this 5 in and just come across nicely for the 6. Now how's the angle in the 6 though? Well, he's got the angle, but he's really close to the rail, so again this is a tough one just to judge to get a shot on this 7. Can't get much dig into the cue ball, so he's really going to have to pull a shot out to get this cue ball onto the 7. He's probably going to leave a distance shot here. Well, he's tried. Well, what does he do? The bank looks a good bet. It looks a very good bet. It should be high odds he should get this bank, but I think he's going to go for the cut. And he needs a bit of luck, and he's got the luck off the jaw this time. And Larry, remember, 7 ball is his goal. So he's now up by 2 racks to 0. Andy had the break, and once again, what went down that time? The 5. He's got a very thin cut in the 1. Needs a bit of luck to get onto this 2, and he's got no joy. I think he's hooked. Can he see an edge? Well, he can see an edge, so he might just try and get the thin edge and tuck this cue ball up by the 7. He's actually hit that too hard. And Larry's using a track mouse, a Logitech track mouse. In my opinion, this is just a personal opinion, I don't think you get as good a feel on the softer shots, and that shot there to me can be played a lot more delicate with a normal mouse. Other people might disagree with me, but I personally think that is the case. I don't think you can really control delicate shots a great deal with a thumb mouse, or maybe I just didn't give them long enough to try them, but I never ever felt I had great control of power when I was using a trackball mouse. I was never ever comfortable with them. I tried 2 or 3 different ones, and maybe that was evidence there. Larry just overhit that, and I think he could have hit that a lot more delicate just to be using an ordinary mouse, but I'm a bit biased as far as that goes. Anyway, this is Stubbs' chance to get himself on the board, and now he's again poor position. He's going to have to thin this in. and this time he gets it. So ReelPolandPower, or Stub as he's always been known, gets his first rack on the board. And 6 ball I noticed went into the top right. What else went in? The 1 ball, and he's got no shot in the 2. Can he see an edge of it? Well, no, he can't, so he might dig out the jump stick, I don't know. No, he's deciding to push. Now the question here is, I think Larry may well put him back in. Which he has done. And that's a better safety this time. Now Larry's in trouble. Now can he see a space between that 8 and the 4? Yes, he can. Well, that was a bit of luck. Now the cue ball needs to run. It needs to keep going. And I think he can see the potting angle in that too. We'll soon find out. Yep, plenty of room. So now this is a good opportunity for Stub to tie the match up. Now again, this is a tough shot because he's out of position. He's got a big distance between the cue ball and the 4, so the cue ball's going to have to run, or he's going to, if he tries to cut this in really delicate, I'd be surprised he can actually hold enough for the 5. Well, that's what he's tried, and he's actually played it well. It was a lot easier than it looked. Might just roll through for this 9 into the right middle, or is he going to try and stop it? It's always difficult to know what Stub's going to do. The obvious one was just to do that and run through. So now we're all square again, 2 racks each. Of course, it's winner break. 6 ball goes into the bottom left, 2 goes into the middle on the right hand side. And well, he's got a fairly easy combo here to make on this 1 and 5. 5's going to the jaw, but it's easy enough to push that in. And now the cue ball's got to travel enough so that he comes away from that 7, which it's done. And now he's finished dead straight on the 4. So bottom, maybe a bit of English. No, he just played it plain ball. So this is again the tough shot. And he's got the cue ball out nicely. And so from 2 racks to 0 down, Stubbs got himself back in the match. He leads by 3-2, and again, balls on the break. Certainly one went into that bottom right, went in so quick I never seen it. It was the 4 ball. So he cuts the 1 into the middle, also punched the 7 in as well with the collision of the cue ball. He has because Stubb made his two mistakes in this tournament, or this final, sorry, because those two mistakes that he made, he lost those first two racks. And since then he hasn't missed anything. Now he's the wrong side of the 6, so he could roll through to the jaw here and just play a wee bit more difficult cut in the 8, but he's chosen to run the cue ball, and of course there was the problem. He's collided with the 9, so he's now got to pull out another cut on the 8 and get position in the 9. And this is what Stubb relies on a lot. He relies on his potting, because his positional play a lot of the time is never that great. And in goes the 9, so now he's got a 2-frame gap, or a 2-rack gap, sorry. 3 ball into the left middle, and no shot in the 1. Let's see what he's got. Well, I think there's no problem hitting the 1. Well, he's got the jump executed, but the end result hasn't done him any favours. So now Larry's got an easy enough shot in the 1, but he's got to get this cue ball somewhere between that 8 and 5 to get on the 2. Unless he overhit it. I think he's overhit it. It needs to bounce. Well, let's have a look. Well, he's on the 2, so he can pot the 2. He's just looking to see where the 4 ball's sitting, right in the middle of the table. And this again needs to keep running, so he's got the 4 into the right middle, and that's played pretty well. And he's actually just got a nice little angle there. There's a slight angle, so he can just draw back, and he's on the 5. He could even just roll through and he's on the 5, whatever he's more comfortable with. And this should be a simple shot again. And ideally he wants to leave a slight angle on the 6. And needs to get away from that 8 ball though. Now let's have a look. Well, that's maybe scuppered his chances here, because he's got a tough shot to pull out. He's got to get the 6 in and get the cue ball back for the 7, and he has the angle to do it, but reading this cut, the difficulty's been increased 3 or 4 times there, and that's what's done him. And that 6 ball's travelling. You see, again, everything would have been fine if that 8 ball hadn't been there, because he had the nice angle in the 6. But these shots in VP4 now, where you're queuing down over a ball, because you can't aim under the ball that they all used to do in VP3, you're aiming down the queue. And the difficulty is in reading the angle to not only to the object ball, but obviously from the object ball to the pocket. And it does magnify the difficulty in that type of shot. But now Larry's only got a kick here, and needs to hit this and hope. Well, that's went reasonably okay, but again, I think this is too much of an invitation for Stubb. I don't know whether he'll think safety, but he's more than likely to bang this down into the bottom left hand corner. Well, I've been made to eat my words. He's thinned it into the middle, and that was a good shot. Again, because you're not behind the cue stick, when you're watching somebody play, those thin cuts into the middle, they don't look on. But he certainly made it look a lot easier than it was. But anyway, he just needs to roll the 9 in, and that's 5 racks in a row. And Larry undid himself in that rack. He had his chance, and again get out of position. Now Larry's got a chance to play a reasonable safety here. Drop the cue ball in behind the 3 and the 6. Surely he's not going to try a bank. Well, has he got that close enough to the 6? I don't know. Stubb may well dig out his jump cue. He's looking for angles to hit the 2 though, to try and kick it, but I think he's going to resort to the jump stick. I don't know whether he's got his jump cue high enough. I don't think he's played too many of these type of jumps. Yeah, and that's just lack of practice that did that. He needed his cue ball, his jump cue a bit higher to try and execute that shot. So again, Larry's got a gift here. Now the problem is the 8 ball. The 8 ball is married to that right hand rail, and that always makes the shot difficult. 7's blocking that top pocket there for the 8 ball obviously, but that'll be taken care of if Larry gets that far, and all he needs to get is a 7. So the 8's not really important. Keep forgetting about the handicap. And that's all that Larry needs to think about. He just needs to get to that 7. But you can only be his worst enemy here. And again, there's a slight angle on the 4, just enough to run the cue ball through. And this is going to be the crucial shot. He can just stun across to where the 8 ball is, but he doesn't want to hamper himself with that 8 to get on the 6. So he's chipped into the 9, which is a much better shot. And now just a simple 6 and a roll in the 7, and Larry's got another rack back, or at least he should have. And he put a lot of inside English on that cue ball, or left hand side as we say, to check the cue ball back. Just keep it away from that 9 so he didn't block himself off. So Larry gets the deficit back to just the 2 racks. Stubb still leads by 5 racks to 3. And Larry's getting not much luck in the break. Now is that 9 and 2 set as a combo? It looks pretty good. I think that 2 ball will be going in a second. Let's just have a look at it. It's heading towards the jaw, but I think it will go in clean. It looks like it will. No, well, he certainly didn't look as if he lined up his first part of the shot, and that was a 1 onto the 9. But anyway, it's probably a lot tougher than it actually looked. But Larry's at the table, he's got the 1 ball. Now let's look at that 2. Well, that 2 looks very tight to go past the 4. obviously thought it would go by, but all of that planning to get on the 2, he's forgotten about the 1. Let's see what happens here if Stubb goes for it. He's looking at it, but he's going to have to be really accurate, because if it feathers that 4, it isn't going to go in. And if he squeezes a bit more out of it going past the 4, it's more than likely going to hit the jaw. So he's drawn into them to move them, and he's done it, but he's been unlucky there. Well, there you go. Kicks the 2, 2 bangs into the 7, cuts it into the top left. There's nothing you can do about that. And now he's hampered himself by the 6 here, I think, very slightly. And again, that's why he missed the 3. So now Larry has to punish that. He has to take these chances. Oh, what you doing, Larry? Oh dear. Again. Well, I'm not saying anything. I still don't like the mouse. I just think that the delicate shots you can have problems with. When you needed that delicate thin on that shot earlier in the other rack there to get round behind the, I think it was the 6 ball, played it far too hard and thick, and that little delicate shot there just to hold, he underhit it way too much. And that's no coincidence that it was delicate shots where the problem is. And Stubb just going through the motions here, tidying up, and he wins the rack. And that's another one that's got away from Larry. He should have won it. Stubb breaks off, gets the, what was that, the 6 ball, and he's on the 1, and the 2 doesn't go past the 5, although it goes down here into the bottom left obviously, and he's trying to move it with no success, and he's also tied a 3 ball up in the same shot, so it's going to be a tough ask to try and run this rack. And that's a great shot. Got the split, 3 balls lying perfect. He needs to watch if he's going to come across here, that it doesn't go in off in the middle. That's always the danger. And he's played it beyond the pocket. And again, he's going to have to force this cue ball. Well, can you see the 8? Yeah, you can. So in goes the 8. And Stubb just needs to roll the 9 in, and he's going to win this week's Friday night 9 ball by 7 racks to 3.